Hello, everybody. It's Bendominator, and welcome back to another episode of the Bendominator podcast. In today's episode, we are on episode 28 of the Bendominator podcast, which is kind of crazy. Every time I do a new episode now, it's like, wow, we've really recorded a lot of episodes. We're on episode 28 of the podcast right now, which is kind of wild. It feels like we just did 27 like last. I mean, we did do it last week, but it feels like yesterday at this point. It's wild. This last week has been so chaotic and busy for me. But at the same time, it's gone by really, really fast. So yeah, it is a bit interesting how that works. But yeah, welcome back to another episode of the Bed Already podcast. Now, the main thing I want to talk about today is, of course, we're going to get to the news and stuff. We have a lot of questions to answer in today's podcast, so a majority of it, I think, is going to be the Q&A section. But at the same time, I also just want to talk about a lot of stuff going on with the channel right now as well. So the first thing I want to talk about is I just did a 3-hour build live stream, and let me just say, it's been so much fun. The last few streams that I've done recently have been a lot of fun. I'm sure you've been hearing me say it on like the last few podcast episodes, but just streaming has been such a positive experience for me lately, which is great because like it's not like it was never really in a negative experience, but it started to get a bit mundane after a while. You stream so many times. It kind of becomes the same thing over and over again, going through the motions, but the last few just have felt really special to me for some reason, and it's been so great. So I thank you guys so much for being a part of them. It's just been a great time, overall, chatting with you guys, just doing some great stuff, whether it be Brim, now with it being like the building stuff, because I haven't really done a building stream in a while, I kind of stopped doing that BR series, but now we're back at it. We're doing it again. We're doing it with a different map now, feeling a lot more creative with it, because a big reason why I stopped doing the building streams, especially for the mini BR, is I just wasn't a huge fan of how that map was turning out. But now I got a lot more of a fun project working on it. It's still a mini BR, but I think it's just turning out a lot better. I'm having a lot more fun making it because I feel more passionate about it, and I just enjoy it more, That's something I've realized a lot in creatives, that not every project you make is going to be the most fun thing, because not every project you make is going to turn out great. But that's okay. Sometimes you just got to start over from scratch and try again, maybe with a new idea, maybe with a new outlook on it, and it can completely change your enthusiasm, We've done that several times with actual seasons of like Brim Royale. We've had ideas, we've tried them, and sometimes we're just not really feeling it. Sometimes we try an idea and we just don't really enjoy where it's going. We're not having fun making it, so we try a new idea, and it just ends up being so much better. We are more enthusiastic about it, and we have a lot more fun doing it, and that's how you know you have a really good idea for a map. That's how you know that your map is turning out well, when you're just having so much fun making it that you just lose track of time, and that's kind of what happened on that live stream, and it was such a good time. Another thing I want to mention is I want to thank Advil and Ramical so much. They both donated during the live stream, which is incredible. Our first ever donations on this channel, because kind of segues into the next thing I want to talk about, monetization. I talked about it last week. Now we are fully monetized, so you can donate if you would like to on any of the live streams, and pretty soon here, you're going to be able to become a channel member, and that's going to come with a lot of perks as well. I'll be making a video on that when that ends up being a thing, but it's just going to make streaming even more positive for me as well. I got channel alerts going up, so now there's like alerts on streams when people subscribe or become a member, or when people donate, just all that kind of stuff, I'm just kind of trying to improve the live streaming experience, getting all these things. And with monetization, it's just been a great gateway into just making the streams feel a bit more professional, but also still a lot more fun. So I'm excited about that. I think streaming has been great, and I cannot wait to do a lot of streaming this week, because I got a whole week off. I got a week of vacation, which of course for me translates to I'm going to work even harder. Like a week off school for me means I'm going to work twice as hard on YouTube and at everything else I'm doing. So yeah, though I will have some days to just relax, like yesterday, because yesterday, oh my goodness, yesterday, Sunday, was just such a nice, relaxing day that I really needed, chilling out with the family, playing the brand new Pokemon game, watching football. It was a great day, but now that it's Monday, the week's starting, I may not have school, but I got a lot of good plans for YouTube and stuff, so I'm excited to get those started. And yeah, that live stream was part of those, and now doing the podcast, and got a lot of great videos planned, got a lot of cool live streams I want to do. I'm going this week excited, so we'll check back next week to see how that went. But yeah, I think this is going to be a great week, especially because we are getting very close to Chapter 3 of Fortnite. And yes, Chapter 3, well, it's still not confirmed. It's happening. it's happening. There's still a chance that it won't, of course. So every time I make a video talking about like Chapter 3, or like mentioning the fact that Chapter 3 is next, I'm still gonna preface it being like, there is still a chance that it could not happen, because right now, technically, Fortnite has not confirmed it themselves, and I don't want to be the guy to spread misinformation about Chapter 3, because there is still a very small chance that they will do something else. So that chance is tiny, especially with all the stuff I've done. I've looked into it a lot since the new update. And I looked into it before, but a lot of stuff I saw just didn't really make me believe it. But now it's not confirmed by Epic, but it's very, very set in stone that it's the most likely outcome. And there's a lot of stuff that makes me believe that it's going to happen, but still, just to be safe, I'm going to still preface every time I talk about it. I'm still going to be like maybe not on stream, because that would get a little tedious, but I'm going to try. Just every time I talk about it, I'm just going to be like, there's still a chance it won't happen, because I don't want to spread any misinformation. I don't want to say anything like that, but I will be making a lot of videos that are kind of related to Chapter 3 and my like retrospective type content on Chapter 2. Because whether or not there's a Chapter 3 or not, it seems like Chapter 2 is coming to an end. They might do something else. There's a chance that they might not call whatever's next Chapter 3. They might call it something different. Who knows? Fortnite, you always think Fortnite's going to be predictable, and in some cases Fortnite can be very predictable, but sometimes they're not, Sometimes they throw a curveball, so there might be something different. Like, just because it's the end of Chapter 2, does that mean we're going to get a Chapter 3 the way we think it's going to happen? Or does that mean something else could change? Who knows? Maybe something different will happen. That's why I always like to keep an open mind. That's why I never really like to talk about things until they're fully confirmed. But at least the fact that Chapter 2's ending, that kind of I feel like that's definitely the case. So, yeah, I know last week my opinions were very different, but like I said in that podcast, I was waiting for the update to fully kind of see what was going to happen, because I knew that this update was going to either confirm or deny the existence of Chapter 3, or not really confirm or deny it, but really push people in the direction of what's actually happening next. So, yeah, again, I'll preface things just in case, just to keep myself clear, because again, like I said in that, I think it was 2 podcasts ago, I don't like spreading misinformation. It's like my least favorite thing. Spreading misinformation sucks, It's terrible. I don't like receiving misinformation. I don't like spreading it. So I'll always preface it, but just know that that's what I'm fully expecting. And I will be, of course, making a prediction video for the next season as well. So that's going to be very heavily into that. But I'm going to wait until we're a lot closer. In fact, I might even wait until after the event to release that. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll release it before so I can predict the event as well. But yeah, again, just really excited for the future of Fortnite, really excited for the channel. Overall, I'm in a very excited mood right now, and that's always a good thing. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a great week. And then even after this weekend's, it's gonna be a great week after that, because it's gonna be like Chapter 3 hype time, It's gonna be a lot of fun. So again, just really excited for stuff. Really excited for a lot of things happening right now. And with that, we will go into the news section of this podcast. Now, there's not really a whole ton of stuff to talk about this week. I'm assuming these next few weeks, until Chapter 2, which is only 2 weeks, it's not going to be too news heavy. We kind of just got our last update. We got the last big thing for the season and possibly for the chapter, which was the Naruto collab. And now we've kind of just been sitting here waiting for what's next, And that's not really a bad thing. That's not necessarily a bad thing. We're getting some nice downtime, because once Chapter 3 happens, or whatever next it does happen, it's going to be huge. It's going to be a huge time. So in all reality, I can't really talk about too much of the news stuff. There's a few leaked collaborations. I mean, supposedly we're getting some more Rocket League stuff. There's been some interesting things like meshes for old items, like the old version of the pump and the old version of the burst AR. Those seem to be updated, so we might be seeing some kind of old version of those weapons come back. Again, all we can really do is speculate. Some kind of throwable axe item, which I was thinking was actually coming out this season. Apparently, it's coming out the next season or pretty much any time else, or maybe it's scrapped. Who knows? But it is officially in the files now. It's not just a rumor or a leak. It's actually out. Well, it's not out, but it's in the files. So I think that's really cool. A lot of people have been making tier lists of their Chapter 2 season rankings. In fact, I even did a tier list, so it's been really cool to see everyone's rankings on all the seasons. I think it's been a really fun time in the community just discussing our opinions on which seasons we like, kind of reminiscing on the past chapter of the game. It's just been a cool time, in the community. A lot of people are just hyped. A lot of people are speculating, It's a really interesting time. And unlike a few weeks ago, it's not like just overblown with a bunch of crazy rumors and stuff. It's actually, now that it's like seems to be happening, it seems like a lot more friendly discussion, a lot less toxic. And of course, the community is always going to be toxic, but it's a lot better than it was a few weeks ago. And you'd know if you have been listening to the podcasts what I thought about the state of the community then. So this is definitely a big improvement for sure. Yeah, it's just been a fun time. Good discussions all around on Twitter, just in my comment sections. It's just been cool. It's been great. There's also just like stuff for like the basketball mode. We keep saying stuff about this a lot of the time, but there's supposedly going to be a basketball mode, like where you could play basketball in Fortnite. That seems to have been scrapped, but there keeps being like things being brought back from that, like strings and things in the files. So who knows if we're ever going to actually get that, but maybe if we were, Chapter 3 would be the time. Who knows? Maybe they'll do that as well. But yeah, really all we can do is speculate for the next season. There's not really much else we can do until we get more information. Of course, like Epic still has yet to say anything about Chapter 3, and I'm just waiting for them to like make a tweet being like, the event for the end of Chapter 2 starting in a few days. It's just weird that they haven't even like hinted at it that much, other than I guess Donald Mustard. But like, still, this whole season feels like such a rushed conclusion to Chapter 2, which does make me a little sad. But it also kind of like summarizes Chapter 2. Like, the conclusion of this just feels rushed and lackluster. I feel like that's kind of a good way to describe a lot of Chapter 2. I don't know. Not to say Chapter 2 as a whole was terrible, but it's just compared to Chapter 1, I just feel like it wasn't as interesting, It didn't feel as good. The game just hasn't felt as good since Chapter 1. And I hope Chapter 3 does a lot to change that. I hope Chapter 3 is a positive change for the game. I hope that overall it makes a game better. I hope it makes a game feel better. I hope that we get more consistently good seasons. I just hope it's more fun, I just hope it's more fun. So, yeah, and we'll get a bit more into that. We got a lot of questions to answer in a second here. Again, a majority of this episode is going to be answering questions. So, yeah, but overall, it does kind of suck that this is like the last season of Chapter 2, because this feels like such a rushed finale to it. But I can't say that I would want another season of this chapter over Chapter 3, because like I really want Chapter 3. So I'm excited that seems to be the case. I'm excited that seems to be what's going to be happening. And yeah, I can now confidently say that I think Chapter 3 is coming next. Or whatever it is. It might not be called Chapter 3. I have a sneaking suspicion that Fortnite's not as predictable as we think it is, and they may throw us a curveball and call it something else and do something different than just a new map, So I hope that's the case. That might just be me hoping, but I hope they really do something to switch it up. Because if Chapter 3 is disappointing, then that's going to be really rough for Fortnite, especially after the last few seasons of the game. Like, that's going to be hard for them to recover from. They really need to pull through and show us something and explain to us what they've been doing for the past few months, because Yeah, it's something. Chapter 3 is something that really needs to happen, and it's something that they need to do right, because if they don't, it's gonna be rough. At least for BR. I think creative will be safe no matter what, but at least for BR, you know. Uh, so yeah, it's interesting. I I just want it to be fun. I want it to be a fresh take, you know. I'm excited for it. And it's kind of interesting too. I think I talked about this last week, but like we're not getting another winter event for this map, it seems like. So it's gonna be interesting to go into chapter 3 and then immediately get a winter event. But we did go into chapter 2 and kind of immediately get a Halloween event. So it's kind of similar, I guess. Pretty interesting how that does end up happening. And kind of another reason why I thought that they would wait a little longer, but I guess not. So yeah, we're gonna go into the viewer questions. I know it's really early in the podcast to be doing this already, but we are gonna go into the viewer questions of this episode today. So let's go ahead and get started. First off is Unicycle. Again, sorry if I mispronounced that. It seems like I always do. He asks on YouTube, are there any plans for once Brimrow finishes up entirely new creative game, etc.? Now for this, I answer, we're not really planning on finishing up Brim anytime soon, honestly. We want to keep Brim going as long as possible, whether that be like with more chapters or just more seasons. We want to keep it going, but we also still have plans for other games as well. We have plans for other maps. Like I've said in a few podcasts, like we've done maps like Island Survival, we've done maps like the FNAF map, and those have been really fun to make, and we have projects that we've been working on that we also have been making that we want to be as big as Brim. You know, we want to have other projects that we can support for a long time and be like a big deal, that aren't necessarily in the mini BR genre. But right now we're just so like hyper focused on Brim at the moment, especially because like we're really preparing for season 5, and I'm hoping that'll release soon. But again, we can't really say. So yeah, we have other plans, and again, I can't talk about them because I don't want to spoil it, which sucks because I always hate to be like, oh, I can't really talk about it, but like, I just really don't want to spoil stuff. But in terms for me, like as an individual creator, if you've been following like the build streams, again, I talked about the build streams. I just want to make more maps just for fun, you know, on stream, just make maps. And once we have memberships, I want to start making maps with viewers. I think it would be awesome to have like a giant Fortnite map, not necessarily VR, but just like an artistic map. Because if you guys know, a creator that you may or may not know, who's most likely actually listening to this podcast episode, which is awesome, but NDV, he does Minecraft cities, and he has a whole live stream series where he's making Minecraft City, Twin Peaks, which looks amazing, or Green Peaks, I think it is. I said Twin Peaks because I think that was a show that came out a long time ago. But it looks amazing, and I want to do that like in creative. I want to do that in Fortnite, so I might end up making like a Fortnite city. I think that would be awesome. I think that would be really cool, and have it with like members, because once we have members, I want to have like channel members get to like make maps with me, because I know a lot of people have been wanting to do that, and it's really hard to moderate unless we do it through a system like members, and members allows me to do that. So for anyone who wants to become a member, they can become a member and help build a map, you know, on stream. I think that would be really cool. I think that would be awesome. So yeah, Fortnite City. I think that would be awesome. I think it would be really cool to do like a Minecraft city, but in Fortnite, with channel members. I think that would be sweet. It would be definitely different. I know people have made Fortnite cities in the past, but it would be definitely interesting. Memory would be the main thing for that, but I'm confident that with a thermometer island we can make it work. I think it would work. So that's my plans for that. Hopefully that's enough to answer your question. Midas the Golden Boy asks, how do you feel about chapter 2 as a whole? So chapter 2 is weird for me because it feels like, overall in retrospect, I just feel like it was kind of bland, you know? There's a few standout seasons. Like I would say chapter 2, season 3, season 5, and season 6. Those are the standouts for me. But even then, they're still bogged down like by a lot of issues. And I think the main issues of chapter 2 have been the lack of interesting and like map changes, and any interesting map changes haven't really stayed. That's like the main obvious one, you know, everyone brings up map changes. But it's a big deal, you know, and Fortnite really needs to like learn how to do that, because if they don't for Chapter 3, it's just been such a big problem for the game for the last like 2 years, and it wasn't a problem in Chapter 1, so I don't understand why it's a problem now. It's really weird. So that's the main one. A lack of interesting themes. This is one that I don't see brought up a lot, but honestly, I feel like a lot of the themes of the seasons just haven't been that interesting. Like, Aliens wasn't that great of a theme for a season, I feel like. You know, Primal was kind of cool, but at the same time, like, a lot of the areas just kind of looked ugly. Even though I liked that season a lot, it just didn't feel great. You know, I think they could have made it a lot more colorful, a lot more interesting. I just didn't really feel like Fortnite. It felt a bit weird. It felt kind of out of place, you know? Um, the Spies theme was cool, you know? As much as I don't really like Chapter 2 Season 2, the theme was awesome. Spies was cool. You know, the whole Fortilla water theme with Season 3 is great. Marvel superheroes. Marvel's great. Not a good idea for a season theme, in my opinion. You know, Season 5 with the 0 point, the desert was kind of weird. The whole direction with that. It was better, but again, still, like, I hope you see my point at this point. Like, the themings for a lot of the seasons just haven't been great either. I feel like they just haven't been as memorable or as strong, you know? They don't really stand on their own as well. There's a few that actually do stand out. Like, again, Chapter 2 Season 2 with the Spies was cool. Chapter 2 Season 3 with the water and the flood theme was also cool as well. But other than that, I think most of the other ones, I guess you could argue Chapter 2 Season 5 was kind of cool. Primal got close, but felt kind of out of place. It's just weird, you know? A lot of the themes just, I don't know, they don't work. And also just the transitions between them was not handled very well either, you know? In Chapter 1, you had, like, really solid, just, like, superhero theme, but it's a movie, which is really interesting. Of course, the first few seasons, like 1 through 3, weren't that interesting because they didn't really handle themes very well. They didn't really handle season launches very well. That was very different. But even with that, like, Chapter 1 still managed to have more interesting things. I feel like Season 5, with, like, worlds collide and the sand coming in and, like, a beach, like, summer theme, but also, like, a rift theme with, like, drift and all that kind of stuff. And Vikings, it was just really cool. And then in Season 6, you had, like, the Halloween theme with, like, the zombies and the cube and the floating island, which was one of the weaker ones, I will say, but it was still pretty cool. Season 7 with the snow, again, it made sense because it was becoming winter. You saw the iceberg in the distance. There was new snow biome. It wasn't just out of nowhere, you know? It all made sense. It connected, you know? Season 8, the jungle theme, exploration theme, it was awesome, you know? Just all that kind of stuff. Now, that kind of came out of nowhere, but still, it worked. It somewhat worked, you know? And Season 8's not one of my favorites, especially when it comes to map changes, so I don't give that one as much credit, but again, makes sense with Season 9, though, because then you have they're getting power from the 0 point. Like, all of it connected for the most part. Season 8's kind of an outlier. The first 3 seasons didn't really have standout themes, you know. But still, I mean, most of it managed to connect way better than any of Chapter 2 has. The themes connected throughout the storyline. Each one, like, made sense after another. I just think it worked a lot more. It was a lot more seamless. Each one stood out. Each one was more memorable. And with Chapter 2, I feel like the themes just haven't been as strong. Most of them just haven't connected. The storyline has not really done a good job of connecting the season themes together, in my opinion. It just has been kind of weird. There's a few connections that have been great, like from Spies to the, like, summer theme. You'd think it wouldn't work, but they did a great job with the device event connecting those themes. Like, there's times that it works. Like the whole aliens to the cubes, that actually worked very well. Like, last season's event fit very well into this season, even if, in retrospect, with how the map looks now, didn't really do much, you know? But still, I mean, there's moments like that do work. For the most part, it just, I don't think the theming has been as good, and I don't think the connection between each season's theme has been as strong either. So, that's a bit of a different thing. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about that. So I thought I would mention that. And again, I'm going to make a video on a lot of this later as well, just retrospective on Chapter 2. Another thing also, AI. Just AI has made the game so much worse, in my opinion. Like, there are a few seasons where it works, but not a lot. I feel like The main season where AI worked in its favor was the primal season, season 6, because like you could actually hunt animals to get resources that you actually need, and they weren't incredibly annoying. But now, like, animals have no purpose. All they can give you is meat, and it barely heals anything, you know? The henchmen are just annoying, but they're not over, like, everywhere in the map. The zombies and the sideways work pretty well. Like, there's ways you can do it right, but for the most part, it's just been kind of annoying, you know? I kind of hope next season we just don't have anything. Like, I just want to have purely PvP for, like, a season at least. I miss when the game was purely just player versus player. I kind of hate it when there's zombies chasing me, or when there's animals chasing me, or when there's henchmen like shooting me from across the map, you know? It's just, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to make the game more interesting. They're trying to give us more to do throughout each match, but I don't know if that's the right way to do it. I think what they need to do for Chapter 3 is get rid of like all the AI. You can have seasons where maybe there's like the little zombie areas and stuff, but for the most part, I feel like the AI just kind of makes the game a lot more annoying to play. I don't know if that's just me, but I just don't like it. And then just make bounties from like season 5. Make them just a feature like that's integrated into the gameplay like all the time. Not just like you have to find a bounty board at specific places, but like an item you can use, or like just an ability you as the player have where you can just start a bounty and go find someone. Because season 5 did a great job of fixing like the mid-game boredom, you know? You just place a bounty on someone and you could go find them and fight them. It was as simple as that. And it was a great mechanic, and I think they should really take that mechanic and use it to their advantage in Chapter 3. Sorry about that, just had to drink a little bit of water there. But yeah, again, that's my main thing about Chapter 2, is just it had a few problems that kind of plagued a lot of the seasons. But overall, the map was great, at least at the start. It got a little boring, but only because they didn't do a great job of updating it. But still, really solid map, you know? Really solid map overall. It's hard for me, again, it's hard for me to enjoy it now, but back when it was fresh, it was really, really cool, you know? Still a great map. Hasn't aged very well, but still. Great map, you know? But yeah, I don't know. A few seasons that stand out, a few seasons that are really good. I just think the inconsistency between quality of each season has just really hurt it. It just hasn't felt consistently fun, you know? And overall, it just really none of the seasons matched up to the quality or excitement of any of the seasons of Chapter 1 for me. The only season that's done that is Chapter 2, Season 3, and even then, it has issues that are unique to Chapter 2. So yeah, that's the main thing for me. Again, I don't want to sound like super negative. Again, I'm going to make videos on this. Like, I don't hate Chapter 2. I'm kind of giving the things I don't like about it, because it as a whole, I would say Chapter 2 was good, but it makes me long for more, you know? And again, I don't hate it. If I hated it, I wouldn't be playing the game still. So, take that how you will. But still, it's been disappointing. It's been lackluster, I feel like. But again, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. Definitely Chapter 1 was better, though, in my opinion. Apex Studios says, what new things do you think Epic will add in Chapter 3? I think they'll add custom skydiving animations. That would be cool. Weapon charms are still a thing they haven't added yet. That would be interesting as well. Animated banners. I think I've talked about this before. Animated banners would be cool. Weapon wrap styles. Please give edit styles to weapon wraps, please. But other than that, like Chapter 3, what would they add? Hopefully some new vehicles. You know, hopefully a new mechanic. I mean, in Chapter 2, we got fishing, we got swimming. Hopefully, like, a brand new selection of weapons to use. That would be cool. Some new items. I think that would be awesome. I feel like Chapter 3 needs to start with 1 water, 1 land, and 1 sky vehicle. And I would be perfectly fine if that was the boat, the car, and the helicopter. Because I feel like the game is best when it has all 3 of those. But if they're going to make new ones, I'm fine with that too. It would kind of suck if, like, we got cars, and then they took a step back, and now we had to wait another few seasons to get cars back. Because that's kind of what happened with Chapter 2. Like, we didn't have cars, but we had ACKs in Chapter 1. And then we had, like, other vehicles. And we were kind of stuck with the boat for a while, and then the helicopter. And there was no land vehicle until the cars came out at the end of Season 3. And that kind of sucked, you know? They could at least just put ATKs on the map, you know? Well, maybe they wouldn't have been able to at that time because they hadn't converted them to the new engine. But still, it was just kind of weird, you know? It was just kind of weird. So, I hope Chapter 3 has all the vehicle types. I hope it has a bunch of weapons. I hope it has a nice rounded weapon loot pool, but with interesting items in there. But I don't want things missing, because a lot of the problems with, like, the crazier loot pools is, like, we're missing, like, things that should always be in the game. We're missing, like, pistols that should always be in the game, like the normal pistol, the express pistol. We're missing the bolt action sniper. We're missing grenade launchers. Like, why haven't grenade launchers been in, like, the entire chapter? I don't understand. Like, I feel like Chapter 3 needs to have, like, the core thing of weapons for the game, and then just switch out and change certain things. But, like, we should always have a sniper. We should always have some kind of, like, good selection of pistols. We should always have a good selection of explosive weapons. But it seems like Fortnite always only wants to have a good selection of shotguns and ARs, and that's it. Like, they'll be like, oh, we don't need any pistols this season. Oh, we don't need any snipers this season. But it's like, yeah, we can't, you know, you need snipers in the game. You can't just have a season without snipers. You can't just have a season without explosives. You know? I kind of don't like it when they do that. So I hope Chapter 3 is better about that as well. That was even a problem in Chapter 1, so it's not me just hating on Chapter 2 even more. That was a problem in Chapter 1 as well. 0 Point asks, which chapter had better skins? Chapter 2, I think. Yeah, I think Chapter 2. Chapter 1 had a lot of good skins, though. I'm not gonna lie. But Chapter 2 just... I think I bought way more skins in Chapter 2 than I did Chapter 1. So, yeah, I'm gonna say Chapter 2. Especially a lot of the collab stuff. A lot of the collab skins have been great. I mean, Axo came out in Chapter 2. I'm just saying. Axo came out in Chapter 2. And he's the best skin in the game, so... No, I'm just kidding. But, I mean, he's my favorite, but... Obviously, the best is subjective. But yeah. Yeah, I think Chapter 2 definitely had the better skins. For sure. A lot more of the good collabs that we love now, or maybe you don't love them, but I think a lot of them are great. Even if I think that maybe they do them too much sometimes. Still, great collab skins, you know? All the Marvel skins we got were amazing. A lot of the Star Wars stuff was really cool. Axo is great. Axo is great. There's a lot of other originals that I can't think of for some reason. A lot of people like Midas, you know, Meowscles was really cool. We got 2 Meowscles as well. Just a lot of cool Chapter 2 skins. Jules, mostly just thinking of Battle Pass skins right now. But still, a lot of really great stuff. A lot of really great skins that we've seen. I wish I could name more off the top of my head that are originals from Chapter 2, but I can't for some reason. But yeah, lots of great, but also a lot of great Chapter 1 skins. I mean, I think they've just been improving with cosmetics over time, though, overall. Though this last season of Fortnite hasn't been great with cosmetics, still, they've been doing a good job overall. Okay, so Cades asks a ton of questions. I'm not going to get to every single one of your questions, but if you're listening to this right now, sorry, excuse me. If you're listening to this right now, then feel free to re-ask any questions I didn't get to on the next week when I ask for questions again. Because unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get to all your questions because you did ask a lot of them, but I'll try to get to a few. But unfortunately, we just don't have time to answer all of them. So first I have a few. What's your favorite season of Brim and what's the worst in your opinion? So my favorite season of Brim Morale is actually the one we're currently in right now. Chapter 2, Season 4 is probably my favorite right now. I think it really is. I've just had so much fun streaming it. The most fun I've had streaming the map ever, I think. It's just been a lot of fun, you know? I just really enjoyed the season. I love what we did with the map. I will say that it's very sad to see Brimland gone, but you know, I just think the new area has been really cool. It's kind of something we had to do. We had to move on from Brimland at some point, and we kind of all agreed in the dev team that, you know, it's been here for a long time, but we have to move on, unfortunately, and I think what we did with the map was really cool, and I think it was worth it, but yeah, Brimland will definitely be missed, and I understand anyone who is very sad about Brimland leaving, because it was definitely a very popular spot. on the map. But overall, it's just been very fun. The one thing that I haven't like been a fan of that we kind of dug ourselves into a hole is that like there's so many items in the game at this point in Brim, but yeah, that's just kind of something we did on ourselves. I mean, it's not terrible. The loot pool is like I still find the loot pool really fun. I just didn't think it was as solid as it was in previous seasons of Chapter 2 of Brim Morale. So if there's anything to complain about there, I like the loot pool complaints. I haven't really seen anybody complain about the loot pool, but yeah, it's kind of chaotic. There's a lot of items and stuff, but maybe people like that, you know? So, honestly, I should do a few polls to ask people what they like. So we are better prepared for when we design next season's loot pool fully. But yeah, and then of the worst, I think Chapter 1, Season 1, honestly, just the first version of the map, I think it's just the worst. Lots of bugs, a lot of places you couldn't really navigate very easily. It was very small. The original Chapter 1 map as a whole, I just was not a huge fan of. But yeah, it was just kind of, it wasn't that great. But we definitely improved it over the seasons. So, yeah. Which is better in your opinion, Chapter 1 or Chapter 2? I said this earlier, but Chapter 2, or Chapter 1, sorry, Chapter 1 is better for me, in my opinion. And I'm going to make a video explaining why as well later down the line. Excuse me. Sorry I keep pausing. What do you think about Chapter 2, Season 8? The seasons just felt kind of weird. It just felt kind of like crammed together, like just a bunch of random stuff, you know? It doesn't feel coherent. But it's also not bad. It's not like not fun. Like it's fun. Like it's a good time, you know? Especially in like I've been having a lot of fun in solos, which is weird because I don't play solos really, but I just have fun in solos, you know? I do well. I like the loot pool a lot. I just wish there was snipers and more explosives and more pistol variety. But other than that, like I like it. I think it's a good season. I wish there was more map changes. I wish it didn't feel as just like, oh, here's a bunch of old stuff. But like, whatever. It's still a fun time, you know? It's a good time. I still like it. Not my favorite, but you know. I still think it's okay. I think it's fine. What's your favorite season of Fortnite? Chapter 2, Season 3. And finally, the last question I'm going to answer from Kate's for now is going to be, what mic do you use? Because this isn't something I've really talked about. Currently, I use the Blue Snowball, but I plan on upgrading to a Rode USB. Hopefully, maybe even a Rode, like, non-USB, like a Rode aux, something. But probably a Rode USB is what I'm going to upgrade to. But right now, I'm using the Blue Yeti. Or not the Blue Yeti, the Blue Snowball. But yeah, I still want to upgrade. I mean, it sounds good, but I feel like there's points where it doesn't really sound that good. And I kind of want to upgrade it. So, we'll see what happens. And then, finally, the last question I'm going to ask on this podcast. Again, if I didn't get your question, feel free to answer or to ask it the next time that I ask for questions, because I do it every single week. But finally, Llama Man asks, do you have any plans of making videos on other games? Currently, no. Currently, I only plan on making Fortnite videos, but I do plan on streaming other games. I've done a few Smash Bros. Streams. I've done a few other random streams, but I want to stream. I want to like stream more variety, and that's kind of gonna be like part of me streaming more often in general. But yeah, I want to stream more variety games. I think that would be cool. And for like the people who are interested in seeing me play other games, they can. But for videos, I'm always gonna upload Fortnite. I think I don't think I'm ever gonna upload another game as a video unless it's on a different channel. And I don't think I really want to make another channel just to upload other games. So in terms of videos, it's always gonna be Fortnite. But in terms of streams, like, sure, maybe I'll stream some random games sometimes, you know, just stream some other games. People seem to like it. Like some people come to our game streams and have a good time. So I'm down to do that still, you know. Don't really know which game specifically that I want to stream other than Fortnite, but I mean, I'm having a lot of fun just streaming Fortnite as well. So maybe not anytime soon, but yeah, I mean, I'm always down to stream other games, just not make videos because it is a Fortnite channel. I like keeping the channel Fortnite. I like making content on Fortnite specifically. So I don't really find myself making content on any other games. other than if there's streams again. So yeah, but anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this episode of the Bendominator podcast. Thank you so much to anyone who's listened this far in the episode, and I just hope you have a great rest of your week. Again, I'm really excited for the rest of this week. I'm really happy. You can probably tell from how much I've been mincing my words and how much I've been, just kind of stuttering and stuff this episode, that I'm just having a good time. I'm having a good day, and I'm gonna have a good week, I think. So I'm just excited about it. I've been excited, and yeah, I hope you guys were happy listening to this podcast. It was a bit of a sporadic one this week, but I think it was a lot of fun. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. Have a great rest of your day, and yeah, goodbye.